Good day. I'm Dr. Danielle Morin from Concordia University in Montreal, Canada. My colleague, Oussam Al-Maleh and Jesus Mondragon are also at the John Molson School of Business at Concordia University. We wish we were there with you in person to present our paper. The title of our paper is Challenges of Going Back to Class After the Pandemic. We all went through this pandemic during 2 years, where universities were closed, where transportation, traveling was impossible. At that time, online learning became a new standard during this pandemic. Instructors had to adapt quickly their in-class teaching to online delivery within a few days. Several online learning tools were already available, but only used by a small number of instructors. The research of the impact of the pandemic on students, on learning, on professors is very rich. Many things have been written. And after 2 years of online teaching and learning, coming back to class could be a challenge. In the summer 2022, it was the end of restrictions. It seemed at that point that the COVID was behind us, somehow. The return to class teaching happened in that semester in few courses. In order to understand how students feel about returning to campus, a study was done. We look at the course that offered the option of attending online or in person, and we see the attitude of students. We find that students were torn between returning or using online tools. We will look at the different aspects of the course and analyze the students' perception of blended learning in the wake of pandemic restriction being lifted. Blended teaching has been used as a hybrid of online elements and in-person elements. Many studies exist and present the benefits of online learning before and during the pandemic. The key to unlocking their benefits is often through recreating a social environment. And we find that student engagement is also an important factor. So maybe, is it possible that blended teaching be the answer for the return to class after the pandemic? This research has been conducted during the summer 2022. The course where we focus was offered in the summer 2022, and the course is about creativity, innovation, and critical thinking. Lectures, preparations, presentation, discussions held in the classroom were also available through video conferencing option. A questionnaire was designed that to be administered at the end of the summer session. The goal is for students to provide feedback on their learning experience. The first part was about the demographics. The second part, experience of students in the topics of the course. The second, the mix of attendance, the percentage of in-class versus online following of the course, and a set of open-ended questions. 3 types of analysis will be performed: descriptive statistics, cluster analysis, and text mining. We note that cluster analysis and text mining are unstructured analytics. We will use SAS Enterprise Guide to conduct these analyses. The results are as follows. Table 1 presents the distribution of age category per gender. 187 students answered the questionnaire. Of those, 33% female and almost 67% male. We also note that the distribution of age group is not the same everywhere. So 41.71% of respondents were less than 25. 38.5% were between 25 and 30, and almost 20% of them were more than 30 years of age, which is different if we only look at the distribution of female participants, where the proportion of female under the age of 25 is higher than the overall group and will say higher than the male equivalent at 43.55%. Students between the age of 25 and 30 form a group of 35.48%, which is less than in the case of male students and less than the average. Students in the group of 30 years of age and more is higher proportionally among female students. The level of experience in the course, a course about innovation, about critical thinking, shows that 29, almost 30% claim they have minimal knowledge. Almost 66% declare moderate experience and 4.28 declare extensive experience. In the case of more female students, a higher proportion will declare that they have only a minimal level of experience, and a moderate experience at 56% is still smaller than their male counterparts. We can see that these students are not, for the extensive knowledge, we have 8% higher. A few female students think that they possess more extensive experience, but mainly this is the group where we have lower. The percentage of in-class attendance is very important for this research. We see in the course where it was possible to come to follow the lecture in class, students overall attended around 70% of their classes in person. 46.5 attended 80 to 100% of their lectures in class. And here we have 28.34 attended 60 to 80% of the time. If I look at this distribution between male and female, so I see female students will attend at least 60% of their lecture at a level of 77%. Similarly, for men, it will be about 73%. So we noted that students tend to attend more of the in-class presentation. Students of the age 30 and more are in highest majority attending 80 to 100% of the classes in person. We see this group here of the 25 to 30 attended less in-class teaching than all the other groups. Maybe they are not junior, they know a little bit more, and they feel more confident. The other analysis we did was a cluster analysis that will generate 3 clusters. Clusters are grouping observations that have similar characteristics. In the cluster 1, containing 43 students, even gender distribution, the highest attendance in class, the least positive attitude to hybrid format. The second cluster of 70 students, they are the younger students, mostly male, in high in-person attendance and high positive attitude toward hybrid format. The third cluster, mostly male again, lowest in-person attendance and the highest positive attitude toward hybrid format. We can see 2 groups with different attitude. high in-person attendance, and here is lowest in-person attendance. They both favor the hybrid format. So therefore, my cluster one seemed to be those students who really were tired with the restriction and definitely wanted to come back to class. In cluster two, those students benefit the most from the hybrid format because it will balance flexibility and interaction. And in cluster three, they benefit from the convenience and attending either way, ideal segment for online asynchronous teaching. We note from cluster 2 and cluster 3, 77 of those students agree overall with hybrid learning. The other analysis that was done was text mining. Text mining is an analysis done on the comments left by students in the open-ended question. Topics that come most often are observed and their frequency is presented as we have here. Class, in the physical class, was something that was frequently referred to. Session lectures, in person, online. So the most common topic is in-person attendance. Online attendance terms are highly common, and the pandemic is referred to often, referring to the end of restriction. Later, we took the text mining results and clustered them into two groups. And the communication cluster referred to online convenient discussion on flexibility of teaching format. We have also the lecture. It's the other option, refers to hybrid and in-person. So we have taken this lecture, which is a very large cluster, and split it into two portions. One of them is the interest of the student. Interesting lecture, in person, enjoyed, and the other one is about performance on the hybrid and learning. That is interesting for the professor to design the course that will accommodate the different type of students. In conclusion, we can say that combining formats limits their benefits. Online size lose out on interaction in class, and inside class does not benefit from the flexibility. We also feel that the online tools should be retained to complement the teaching, and the flexibility of online format is valued now that we have 2 years later. Students had the time to appreciate it, although they still want to have this human contact. Complementing separate format can be trialed, additional online support for these in-class gathering, and to provide the regular physical interaction of very physical space in online courses where possible. So therefore, this research shows that coming back to class after 2 years of online teaching, there are some characteristics that students wish to maintain, which is the flexibility, and the ability to review material more than once. And for the instructor, having spent and invest on these new technology, it will make new teaching rich of these additional learning tools. On behalf of myself, Usam Al-Mali, and Jesus Mondragon, we thank you for your attention and we wish you a great conference.